FROSTE versus Nadeshot.
A little late on this, but
A little late. I feel like it's already beating the dead horse at this point, but I feel like there's a lot of good conversation that can come from it. To give anybody backstory, if you don't know somehow, it's all good. Just living under the rock. Patrick and shit. Twitter. For those who don't know, yeah, FROSTE versus essentially 100 Thieves, and FROSTE, his little entitled. Nah, let me stop.
That's crazy. You can't even start out. Now you're biased. You're showing your bias.
Now I'm biased. Hey, never. I'm just kidding. I'm not. But anyway,
it's not a joke, but it is.
There, he was pretty much saying that he had no support. Him and the mob had no support from 100 Thieves from the second he got there. Being underpaid, had like a living situation to which the salary that they were making wasn't sustainable. And he expected more from Nadeshot and 100 Thieves. From the outsider's view, it was more so him saying, you gave us a platform and kind of just left us to the wolves.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, the mob was like they're like a Twitter. They're popular on Twitter. They're a Twitter group, but they didn't have like a big following in terms of like Twitch or YouTube or anything where they could really make money from. Mm-hmm. But like you said, they were given that opportunity of getting that 100T like seal of approval, which we've seen with even people like I forget what his name, but he was just like a social media manager for 100T, and now he's doing like content with like the players and stuff. There's that black guy with the I forgot.
The black guy?
He is a black guy. Not JHB. JHB was an intern and he like blew up. But there's like a black guy who's like on the 100 team like esports.
If y'all know him, leave a comment. Looking at us.
But no, he was literally just like social media manager. Mm-hmm. And then I think he was getting I think he got caught on stage a few times and like he's funny or whatever. Some funny interactions with the players. And now like low key he could be his own content creator type shit.
Right.
Like he's got that kind of pull. I feel like it. So like with shit like that, like you gotta take advantage of the opportunity. The org is never going to, they're not going to spoon feed you everything.
Yeah.
Like if you don't want to be popular or if you don't want to put in that effort, they're not going to force you to. They're only going to force you to really do their deliverables.
Exactly. No, I agree. And it's more so like you said, the platform, right? Like as a business model, you're never going to overextend your business to somebody that you're paying.
Right.
Like if you have that platform like 100 Thieves, like anybody that comes in needs to learn how to utilize that platform to better themselves. Because at the end of the day, business is every man for themselves. Yeah. No matter how much you think this is like friendly or family, like all that, at the end of the day, you have bottom lines, you have metrics, and if you can't use that platform to grow yourself, then you're just going to be left out to dry. And I feel like that's where they suffered because, like you said, they were on Twitter a lot, had a massive Twitter following, and after getting that stamp of approval from 100 Thieves, you would think that it should only be up from there. I mean, you grind on social media, take that same kind of creative passion or whatever and do content or something.
And I mean, I can definitely understand from their point of view where it's like, he was even saying like they don't make money on like the money-making platforms or they don't have a big following on those. And I can definitely see how it could be difficult to translate your Twitter following to like stream views and stuff like that, just starting out, but like, with that 100T seal approval, people know 100T is gonna be streaming. I'm sure they had a certain amount of access to like the content house or something like that. Or I'm sure even what they were paid $60K a year.
60K.
Yeah, they were paid $60K a year, and then they
in
decided,
LA though.
In LA.
That was the only thing where I was like, but even then, it's like y'all are so young.
Yeah, you're being paid $60K in LA, and I mean if you look like the photos on Twitter and stuff like that. You can see the room was just full of fucking like Uber Eats and shit.
Just wasting the money.
Yeah, you're wasting money. You're living in you're living in like a $10,000 like a month, I think, house or something like that.
Yeah.
So their rent was crazy between all of them.
Disgusting.
And I'm like, there were definitely cheaper options, but I feel like the glamour of it got to that. I feel like they were like, oh, we're part of it, like we made it type shit. But part of making it, I feel like, is taking advantage of the opportunity. Just because you like. Since you got a bigger spotlight and got all these eyes on you all of a sudden, now you have to like do something with that. You can't just be like, oh, I had it.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, I had it. And even like, Nadeshot was talking about this. You're coming from Nadeshot who went with Optic, left Optic to start something bigger, or left Optic because he didn't want to be there or whatever. I forget the exact situation was, but he left Optic, and then goes on to start something bigger. And he was even talking about for a while he thought that like he fit like leaving Optic was the biggest mistake of his life.
He really jumped out on the limb. Yeah. It was like, I want to do something that's mine, that I have full creative and business control of, and, passion will put you in those situations to where you have kind of like that fork in the road decision. It's like he made that jump and he realized it was going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of probably restless nights on his end, and just realizing like that feeling like this might not work, but there's no other option at this point.
Yeah.
And passion is one word to use it, but it's more so like just determination and the will to see see different goals. You don't see them as peaks, you see them as like the bottom, like the beginning.
Yeah.
You don't see it as the end. And I feel like the mob and Frosty in particular, because he's the one that was speaking out. So anything that we're speaking to is his words, not.
Yeah, I would say Frosty, because I know I forget his name, but there was one kid that people I think was classic. Yeah, he was grinding, so he was
yeah, he's a grinder. I got respect for him.
And it's like when you're associated with, it's kind of shit. He kind of got a shit in the stick because like he's associated with the mob and 100T. So it's like he can't. I can definitely see how it would be harder for him to pull out and do his own like solo shit without the rest of the mob, even if he is grinding. Like that's what he's known for, those two things, and if he's not really interacting with those two things a lot, it's kind of like, well, fuck. Like,
but no, I mean, the biggest thing for me and the biggest issue that I had with Frosty was you had such an amazing opportunity. I mean, Tier 1 esports league or organization with 100 Thieves, like, and you literally have something to bring to the table. You're not just, being signed on some strictly off of faith. Like, you had the social media presence. You guys obviously had personality to bring. And so 100 Thieves saw that as a decent business decision to bring them on. And I guess they just didn't, instead of seeing that as like, all right, now this is the beginning, they saw it as we made it. Yeah, this is it now.
We did it. We did the thing.
And it's like, no, like at the very least, y'all are at the bottom now.
Right. Now you can start for real.
Yeah, now y'all walk through the door.
Put the foot on the gas, right.
Like they got to a point where so many people would love to get, and instead of, finally getting in the car and putting the foot on the gas, they got out the car.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. That's crazy.
And even like Nate, when I remember Nadeshot when he did the streaming, he was addressing it, and he pulled up his hours. I'm like, he streamed like 40 hours a month, man.
People work 40 hours
first of all, people work 40 hours a week, and I know people with full-time jobs who stream more than 40 hours a month. So like, what's your excuse, man? Like, it literally does not make any sense to me. And he's like, oh, that extra $2,000 or whatever a month wouldn't really mean shit. And I'm like, well, if you can't say, oh, that extra $2,000 wouldn't mean shit, but then complain on Twitter that we're going without meals.
Yeah.
But also be ordering out Uber Eats all the time. Like, something's not making sense, bro. But I definitely think they could have like found some apartments or something like that, and they definitely didn't have to. And he was saying, I was watching this video, and he was saying that like, oh, like you couldn't find like anything on Zillow that was less than like 10,000 a month or whatever. And then he's like, he was literally on stream about to pull it up, and I think he looked at it and saw that you could find plenty of options, and then he just didn't pull it. He was like, never mind, why would I? And it's like that clip you made showed it perfectly, like show proof, like what proof.
You literally provided no proof? Bro, because for me to provide proof, like, what is there to provide proof of? Like, why would I be lying?
Man, why would I? Like, I don't even understand that, bro. Like, we're supposed to just take you off of faith that this is what it is. Like, also against someone who's established, and like, people know Nadeshot is a grinder. Like, they know where he's come from, the work he's put in, and how hard he's tried to do.
His track record's proven for sure.
Speaks for itself. And I think the only person he really had like a falling out with was like Nick Merckx or something.
Yeah, and I actually wanted, if y'all know anything about that whole 100 Thieves Nick Merckx situation, leave it in the comments. I don't know too much about it, but even when Nadeshot was speaking about it, you can tell that it was still really touchy.
Yeah.
And he didn't like go in depth because maybe there was still like things that are unresolved on both of their behalves, but I don't know much about it.
I mean, from what I understand, Nick Merckx talked about it. I didn't really watch it because I personally don't follow any Nick Merckx content, so it just didn't really interest me. But I don't think Nadeshot has done like an official statement on it. I think the only reason he did an official statement on this is because it was less him being called into question and more the company and people, and he didn't want to create an environment around people who think they're being like if you know your workplace is mistreating people, you're not gonna want to fucking work there. And he didn't want that to stand. And he didn't want people attacking his employees on Twitter and shit like that. So like, it makes sense to get out in front of it, especially even if you don't want to talk about it. Because I mean, he doesn't really get in drama and shit like that. He kind of
he just grinds, like you said. And for Frosty to try to put that stigma on 100 Thieves, That just pissed me off. It made me happy that the reception around it was against him, because the last thing that you want to see is like you don't have to grind to make it to achieve your dreams, and that's kind of like the image that he was portraying. Like he was expecting things from the company, to which I can't speak on. Maybe there was, certain things that the company did was shady. I don't know nothing about that.
I
but
mean,
as far as the foundation between, the mob and 100 Thieves, like you guys have the platform now. Go make that shit work, bro.
Yeah, do with it what you will.
Like, because we didn't have to give you this. Like, we didn't have to co-sign nothing. And I know for sure their social numbers jumped after that signing and that co-sign. So
definitely.
You can't say that, it was all one-sided. Like, no. It was one-sided because y'all weren't holding up your end of the bargain.
We weren't doing shit for real. I don't know, man. It just doesn't... I mean, I guess it speaks broader to... Because they're younger than us, I think? Or
they're definitely younger, but they're still, like
a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Not. But honestly, we say this all the fucking time, but just work ethic, man.
They don't have
like
that.
Some people just don't have it. I don't know what it is with people a little bit younger than us, or like what
social
happened,
media.
what's missed it.
That's what it is.
I mean, yeah, I guess people.
You see a few retweets and a little verified badge, and it's like you're hot shit. It's like you still gotta work, bro. Like you have to work.
Yeah. And I mean, like, social media is cool and shit, right? But like, you still haven't really accomplished anything. I mean, it's like, at the end of the day, I feel like social media is meant to augment life, and I feel like a lot of people, younger people these days, I fucking hate the way that sounds, but I feel like a lot of this old ass nigga, bro. But I feel like a lot of people, like, not even just younger people, now that I'm thinking about it, but a lot of people expect it to replace their life, or like, because online their persona feels better than it does, like, on their day-to-day life. But
they think they're in the metaverse.
Yeah, but I feel like if anything, if you prefer like your Twitter or online persona, your social media presence more than like in real life, I feel like that speaks to you should probably be focusing more on your day-to-day life.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Enjoyable.
You're weird.
I mean, you are a little bit weird, but that's.
I mean, yeah. Me as somebody who's trying to get into this YouTube content stuff, like, y'all didn't hear that. Who's trying to get into YouTube and content and stuff, I can only imagine having, because they looked up to Nadeshot, they looked up to 100 Thieves. Like, I know that once they signed those contracts, they were ecstatic, right? I can only imagine what that feeling would be like for me if one of my favorite YouTubers, Billy Easy, I'll say his name just in case, you never know. If he hit me up like we should do a video, it's like, oh shoot, now I'm about to go a million times harder now because I finally got the eyes.
Right.
Like, I could grind for 1,000 hours with no eyes, but the second I get eyes, that 1,000 jumps to like 10. It's 10,000
I mean, it's
now.
honestly, like, you see all these like not the one hit wonders, like, but the overnight blow ups and shit like that. But a lot of situations like that end up being that like people are grinding and working and they develop that work ethic and they develop that talent, and then they have that one moment where someone comes in and puts that eyes on them, and that's what 100 Thieves and Nadeshot was trying to do, and they fucking flopped, man. They didn't have the work ethic behind it. They just didn't really do shit with it. And I mean, I don't understand where he gets off being like, oh, Nadeshot and 100 Thieves took advantage of me. If I flop like that, I'd be like, damn, I let this nigga down, bro. Like,
right,
he took a chance on me and shit, and I didn't do nothing with it, bro.
Talking about this your idol and stuff, like, well, shoot, you should be wanting to help your idol. You should be wanting to add something, not expecting something on your plate. Like, no, let me cook.
Right,
I'll cook, bro.
Literally, and I feel like how can you be a fan of Nadeshot and like 100 Thieves and not like admire their work ethic and everything that they do, and like how wholeheartedly they go into fucking everything. Like, whenever they do, they try to do it fucking. Like, you see this thing, he's in literally like every piece of. You see him getting pissed off at like COD and Valorant games, and then also in the fucking content shoots, doing like hitting golf balls in the simulator, also in the fucking clothing brand shit. Like, he's all over the fucking place.
He's probably in every single business meeting, either remote or in person, but he's probably in every business meeting. Like, he has his hands everywhere because he gives a fuck.
Yeah, you can tell. And I mean, I feel like that's why the 100 Thieves is fucking running it up right now. Like,
yeah, run it up. That's what they're saying. And, they started as a quote-unquote hoodie org. That was kind of like a degrading name to them at first, but, even Nadeshot spoke about it, like, that was like a main source of revenue at first. That kind of got the company off the ground, just having like fire merch and, just good fashion, and to kind of build everything else around.
Yeah, I don't understand stigma around being a hoodie org.
It's so
or whatever.
stupid, bro. It's like we making money doing this, and
right?
y'all
Because
can't do that. So we're
let's
the
talk
hoodie
about
org,
it.
okay.
A lot of orgs are just losing, are just bleak.
Trash.
So like, how you going? So you mad?
I got Oshkosh Bagosh clothing, bro.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
All of this shit is just like y'all just threw the logo on that shit and fucking sent it, bro. Ain't nobody trying to get this.
I mean, we can wrap this part up just saying, like, shout out 100 Thieves. I love what they're doing. It's, on the mob sense, like, if you didn't feel that coming, like, leave. Like, you don't have to stay.
Yeah.
You want to stay because you know 100 Thieves is what they are. But if you're not going to bring nothing to the table, like, nothing's saying, like, you have to stay around. You can try to go create your own shit.
Great. And I mean, all of this, you could have just been quiet, bro.
That's the biggest thing. You could have just shut the fuck up.
You could have just been quiet like the rest of them. Like,
but I feel bad for him throwing the other people in the mob under the bus because
now
now it's
they
kind
come up
of
with statements and shit. Like,
yeah. It's like they were probably like, damn, like I ain't even. Maybe some of this true, some of this not. But I didn't even want to say nothing about it.
right. Like I was just trying to go back home, bro, and like
I'm
chill.
trying to burn no bridges. Frosty burnt every bridge in
yeah.
esports.
Nobody's fucking with Frosty.
Nah.
And then you know what's the craziest part? Actually, this is the last thing we're gonna say about it. But the craziest part is that like he got all this and he had all these eyes and shit, and he did his one stream where like he just bullshitted and basically made a fucking fool of himself. It's like, yeah, no more fucking internet. And I'm like, at least stream to the fucking 100 T haters, bro, on Twitter who are gonna fuck with you regardless because you don't fuck with them, and try and make something out of the situation.
I thought
like,
that's what he was gonna do.
It shows that you just still don't have the work ethic. Like the problem is
He didn't even take the clout chasing route. Like that.
Like,
that was
that
the
been
easiest
shitty.
thing for him.
I would have been like, damn, that's kind of corny, but like, I mean, he making money, so what am I to say? Like,
play the
he didn't
game,
even do
I
that,
guess,
bro.
Yeah, the game is the game, but he didn't even fucking turn the console on, bro. This nigga just expect somebody to beat the game for him. Like, bro, you gotta play, bro.
Nigga went below story mode difficulty, bro.
Bro.